The M13 and I have an interesting story. It was my favorite gun in the beta, it's still probably in my top 3 favorite weapons in this game, but honestly, after my last couple of play sessions with it, I really have to admit that it's not that good. I personally love it. I enjoy doing well with it, I can do well with it, and I think on maps like Shoot House, Hackney Yard, Azure Cave, or any map that has a lot of mid-range engagements, you know, the M13 does really well, close to mid-range engagements I should say. And then there's maps with long-range engagements, then there's maps with lots of head glitches. Those maps kind of show the M13's weakness, but we're not really going to get into that. No, this weapon fires at around 930 RPM, and the problem with it is that it can't get a 4-shot kill, but if it could get a 4-shot kill, that would be a little overpowered, especially if it was to the body. Of course, I'm talking about body shots here. So, with headshots, you can get a 3-shot kill if you land headshots, you can get a 4-shot kill at long range if you land headshots, but they have to be all headshots, which isn't really that feasible. And what's annoying is that there's so many weapons in this game that are going to just out-damage you. So, although this weapon allows you to hold your sight on somebody consistently and bring them down from 100 to 0 pretty fast, their weapons don't require that much persistence. What I mean by that is if you go up against somebody with an AK-47, an M4, or a Kilo, or an Odin, or an FAL, or a FAMAS, at the ranges that those weapons excel, they're going to kill you much, much faster. This makes the M13 a good feeling weapon, but not really a good performing weapon. Having a high rate of fire coupled with low recoil is a very satisfying combination when it comes to an assault rifle in Call of Duty. But if you're fighting good, fast players, unfortunately you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 shots, and here's the thing, right? If you start hitting lower limbs, or if you miss one shot over the shoulder, it's not going to work. You're gonna find yourself pointing the gun at somebody, pulling the trigger, and then dying. And that's a very not good thing in Call of Duty. This video is thrown together as shit, as you can tell. I have no script. Either way, there's a problem with this weapon because of that feeling that it gives. It's all feelings for me with this weapon. I don't really care about its stats. It feels good to get kills with. It feels like it rewards accuracy by promoting headshots and then also not kicking too much, so it actually allows you to get those headshots. But the gun does come at the cost of that irritating, horrible feeling of getting hit marker, hit marker, hit marker, dead, and then you've died already. Because somebody had an AK and they just shot you twice in the head. Or somebody has a FAMAS and landed its full burst in your upper chest. And from the testing I've done, that I don't have recorded because I did this a long time ago, and the testing that Exclusive Ace did, the 300 blackout rounds don't really do jack shit. Especially when you consider the fact that they reduce your ammo to 30. So even if you like the little bit of extra damage at range, you're getting rid of your ability to dump lead, which is what the M13 is all about. So if you're going to run the M13, I highly recommend the 50 or 60 round magazine. In fact, I'd almost say it's required due to the high rate of fire and the shots it takes to kill. If you're being very accurate and you're being very precise, you could, under ideal conditions, get 10 kills per 50 or 60 round magazine. So I'd recommend that. I'd say go with the 50 over the 60. The 10 extra rounds aren't really worth the added weight, so I'd say the 50 round magazine is preferred. And when it comes to attachments, I don't know. Again, I don't have any class setups to pull up on screen. I would honestly just say the Tempest Marksman barrel is really good. The longest barrel you can add onto the gun. I like using that, and a stippled grip, a skeleton stock, and some sort of foregrip. That's my preferred setup. Sometimes I'll trade one of those for an optic, depending on which map I'm on. You can really customize this gun to suit your needs. Despite its low damage, it is fairly versatile. I've had good success in many a game with it, many different types of games with it. So if you have any good M13 setups, go ahead and share them down below. If you have problems with the M13, I don't know what to tell you, because I don't think the gun is so good that it's like, oh, it's right up there with the M4. I kind of used to think that when the game came out, but since we've seen the stats and I've tested it, no, it's really not. And I wish that it was. But there's nothing they can really do with this gun without removing the way that it feels. The closest thing I can think, though, that they could do to an actual buff to this weapon without ruining it, is they could increase its 5-shot kill range a little bit. So give it like 10% or 15% more range for its 5-shot kill. Maybe that would make it a little bit more versatile. But if they made it a 4-shot kill up close, I feel like that would be a little overpowered. Because of the rate of fire and the accuracy of this weapon, you're putting a lot of damage on somebody very quickly, despite it not being really a lot of damage per shot, if you get what I mean. I would say it's one of the most fun assault rifles in the game, despite not being very good. I think the word I should use is competitive. It's not a competitive weapon, because somebody using something like the M4, the AK, or the FAL, if they're just as good as you are, right, and they're able to land the same amount of shots you are, but with a more powerful weapon, then you're just going to lose a lot of engagements that you're going to feel like you should have won. Now, the Cyclone barrel is what I believe it's called, the integrally suppressed barrel on this gun, increases your bullet velocity, which is pretty good. If you were to combine it with the 300 blackout rounds, you would have a weapon with no visible vapor trails, a balanced bullet velocity, increased damage range, and your enemies won't have that little skull that appears over them after you kill them, so it is a very good stealth weapon. So I recommend playing in a way that's unpredictable with it. I don't think it's great for storming objectives and pushing headlong or holding long lines of sight. I think it's good for flanking opponents, and I think that's what you should be doing with it pretty much at all times. I think you'll have a lot of fun if you dedicate yourself to having a reserved, stealthy, lurky playstyle. I think this gun just screams that. It's meant for it. I believe that the MP5 and some of its attachments and the M13 with some of its attachments are the best stealth weapons in the game. So build this gun for accuracy, build it for versatility, and aim at the head, and just hold the trigger down and guide the rounds. You do not need to tap fire this thing or burst it. If you are at a range where you need to tap fire the M13, then I'm here to tell you that that is the wrong range for that weapon. That's the way you know. The moment you had to tap fire to keep your sight on target was the moment you left the weapon's effective range. If you're going to fight at those ranges, build the gun for a complete recoil control build. If you're not going to do that, then stick to where the gun is good. Mid to close range, flanking enemies. When it comes to weapons in this game, I really only trust my own personal feelings when I'm using them. Some of you guys that are fans of the Ram 7 should know this very well by now, because you can like the Ram 7 because it suits you personally, even though it's not really a good assault rifle, unless you're at its 4-shot kill range, in which case it slightly outclasses like a couple assault rifles, but not all of them. I don't know. I don't recommend using the Ram 7, honestly. If the Ram 7 had the recoil of the M13, I would be almost entirely on board, but it doesn't, so I don't, and I'm not. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video for whatever reason. I know it's a very casual video. I don't think anyone learned anything by watching this, but personally to me, the weapon feels great in spite of its stats, and I recommend that you hit people from unexpected angles. So with that, my most useless advice has been passed on to you now. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.